Hello and welcome to Geek Addicts, the pop culture podcast where we talk about all sorts of things. My name is Matt. With me, his signature move, the talk no jutsu, Bill Barber. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing good. I'm not sure if in reality I'd say I agree with that because I don't really talk as much as I do on the podcast in reality, but you
Yeah,
know,
but you do three podcasts a week plus guest appearances, so I think that qualifies.
I guess so. I'm doing good. I'm doing all right. We're currently in the middle of a 3 day long weekend, which is really nice because I needed it.
Yeah, same. I'm really happy about it. We're taking the kiddies to the zoo tomorrow because my work gives free passes
Oh,
every
nice.
summer. So, yep, that's gonna be pretty cool. It's been a while since I've been to the zoo, so actually, you know what? I think the last time was when Cindy was pregnant with Francis because we went for Xander's birthday, but that was the one in Providence.
Yeah, so I'm learning constantly that buying uh, uh, being a first time home buyer, you start learning a lot of things as you go along.
Hmm.
And I'm learning now that obviously the previous owners didn't replace batteries on anything in this house, like ever.
Yeah.
So I've been like slowly changing light bulbs out, like getting like everything replaced. And I've started realizing now like anything that had a battery in it was never changed. So like I'm like dead asleep in the middle of the night, and then the smoke detector in my bedroom, the battery finally died on it. So it just starts giving out this piercing shriek
Ugh, I hate
every
that.
like minute. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? It's like the
That
middle of the
sucks.
night. I'm trying to sleep, so I have to get up, like get a ladder to like get the thing down, and then I have to like open it up. And of course, it's a 9 volt, so I've got to go find a 9 volt battery.
Hmm.
Uh,
That figures.
yeah.
Well, apologies at the top of the episode. The past couple of days I've been dealing with a cough. It's not nearly as bad as the one that I had before, but it's gonna rear its head every now and then throughout the recording, most likely. So
No
which is
worries.
actually kind of funny because I just started listening to earlier today. I started listening to the most recent episode that you put out of GNC, and Alex was talking about how she had a cough too. I was like, oh
Oh
shit,
yeah,
it's going around.
the she was like dying, and she's like, I have to go to a doctor, and I'm just like, yeah, do that. And then she goes to the doctor, and they're like, no, it's just fucking bad allergies. That's all it is. And I'm just like, good to know, I guess.
That's what I'm pretty sure it is for me too, because we've been getting a bit of a heat wave,
Hmm.
at least for May. So obviously, like we get like a bunch of rain, and then we get like a week of 70 to 80-degree weather. Actually, this week it was like 85 all week. Today's the first day it's really dropped, um, and it's still in the 70s.
I think it's like 80
But
here today.
but yeah, between all the rain and then all the sunshine, is all the plants are doing their thing. So yikes.
Yep,
Which
gotta
sucks because
love it.
pollen never really affected me that way when I was younger, and now it's just awful every year.
There was a study going around that like you can like be immune to it like for like all of your life, and then just one day it'll suddenly just hit you, and then you just suddenly have allergies.
Allergies are weird like that. Like my mother-in-law, when I first met my wife and we started dating and stuff, she was like deadly allergic to peanuts. Now that allergy is just gone. She can eat
Yeah,
peanut butter all day now.
it's bizarre. Like it'll just like some people like it'll just hit them years later, and other people it'll just go away.
I
Weird.
really hope that doesn't ever happen to me with poison ivy, because poison I've never been allergic to poison ivy, and I really hope that doesn't turn. Knock on wood.
Yeah. uh, that's better than being allergic to sulfur and not being able to light matches. So
Oh, you're allergic to sulfur?
yeah, it's a
Yikes.
if I light a match, it like blocks my nose up, and I like can't breathe for shit for like a day. It's bad.
Ugh. Grill lighters.
Yep. We talk about
Yeah.
a weird allergy, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, it's better than being allergic to grass.
Yeah,
I've heard of
that's a
people who are
thing.
allergic to grass. That sucks.
Or you get bit by that tick that like makes you allergic to meat.
Dude, I pulled like three of them off of me yesterday. And I didn't even go in the grass. I don't know where the hell they
Mm.
came from. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I've had Lyme disease. It's not fun.
I'd imagine. Um, but yeah, aside from that, Unfortunately, I didn't get to play as much Persona last week as I was hoping, but I have made some progress. I unlocked the sauna dungeon,
Oh, the
so
best
I'm at
one
that
of the
point
best
now.
ones.
Yeah,
Oh, so
it's
you've encountered
kanji, right?
Kanji. Kanji's great.
Yeah, because you meet him and you think he's just like the usual punk kind of kid, and like as soon as like it actually started like kind of like the character started interacting with him a little bit, I'm like, oh, I know what his thing is. I know exactly where this is going.
I'm not going to spoil it, but I will say Kanji is a very interesting character that there's a lot of interpretation around him.
That's fair. Well, I mean, there's not a whole lot of imagination once you get into the dungeon, or at least even see him in the Midnight Channel.
Um, I'm not going to spoil it, but I'll let you. I'll just like let you know it's there. It's a bit deeper than it sounds.
Fair enough.
So just don't consult the internet on that dungeon because oh boy, oh boy.
Oh, geez.
Um,
No, well, with this game, I've been trying to avoid avoid like walkthroughs and stuff as much as I can, unless it's like a specific mechanic that I need to like try and figure out how to work. Which I'm starting to get more the hang of like the social links and stuff. I kind of just been focusing on Chie right now because she's my brawler, so I want her stats to be up.
that's fair.
But aside from that, I'm just going through the sauna right now. I'm only on like the fourth floor or something. Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
Just had
that's
a
a
cough
fun.
too.
Yeah, I know it's the worst.
Doesn't help that it's hot in this room here.
I finally gave in and put the AC on.
It sucks. I recorded my grandmother's house, as I mentioned before. She has central AC, just apparently not in this room.
That's a bummer.
Mm-hmm. Oh well. What are you gonna do?
Move on and
Um,
persevere.
but yeah, aside from that, a new Stephen King book came out this week, and I've been going crazy with that. I'm already like almost halfway through it.
Yeah, I
It's
saw
really good.
the.
It's book of short stories.
Oh, cool. I saw the last episode of Sandland came out dubbed, so I'm gonna finally sit down and watch that at some point this weekend.
Nice. I was waiting for that. Probably do that this week.
Yeah, and then I gotta find it. I gotta watch Zom 100 because Alex wants to do an anime swap on it. So
What are you gonna make her watch?
Sandland.
Or okay, fair enough.
When I was watching it for our episode, I was like, "This would be a good episode for anime swap," and I told Alex to watch it.
It's like the perfect length, 12 episodes.
Hmm. Yeah, so I gotta watch
It's a
Zom
fun show.
100 now. But yeah, no, it was. I really enjoyed the what I've watched so far. I gotta finish the second arc, but that'll be for another time.
Hmm. Oh, but yeah.
Oh,
Um, aside from that, I finished Whole Cake Island finally, and
nice.
started the Kai version of Boo.
Oh, nice.
Oh, give me 1 second. I'm just gonna grab a cough drop. Hopefully that'll help.
Yeah, no worries. Anyways, so yeah, not much has been going on. It's just been a long week. Finally, some time to relax. That's all I'll say.
It's been an interesting week. I don't even know what day it was, but there was one day that was like it started out nice, and then it started like downpouring and thundering, and then it was nice again, and then I went back out on break for the next break, and it was raining again. It's like, what is even going on today?
It sounded like Thursday. Thursday was pretty.
Hmm.
Thursday was up there. I was in the heat treating room for that the entire day, so I got to watch it happen as I was playing with fire.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Oh man. Um, lost my train of thought for a minute. Oh yeah,
My bad.
the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake came out this week.
Oh yeah.
My copy is delayed till next week, but like I was gonna have time to play it. I'm
That's
looking
fair.
forward to that one though. It's a one of the best Mario RPGs ever made, honestly.
Solid. I haven't played very many of those. I think actually I don't know if I've played any Mario RPGs.
They're hit or miss. Like the remake of the original Mario RPG that just came out was really good. Um, the Mario and Luigi series is really good. The first three, anyways. And
Mm.
then the first three Paper Mario's are all really good.
The Mario and Luigi ones are on the Switch Online, right?
So only the first one is on the Game Boy Advance Switch Online.
Mm.
The other two were DS games.
Gotcha. I might have those on that like emulator chip thing I have.
You might have
I have to look.
Partners in Time and Bowser's Inside Story. They honestly should be on there.
Fair enough.
But
Oh, well, yeah.
so
Yeah.
getting back to our topic, then I guess Naruto.
Yes. We're restarting where we left off. So we left, I believe, at the end of the tuning exam last time.
Yes, I want to say.
So we jumping into like the find Tsunade arc, find the fifth Okage. This pretty much kicks off immediately with Itachi showing up, which is like a
Mhm.
huge reveal at the time.
Yeah, because he was still a villain at this point. Spoiler warning.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, he was like he had been alluded to a couple of times throughout. Like there've been a couple of points where Sasuke would mention him in passing, kind of, but like I think
Sasuke would have one of
Orochimaru
his
mentioned him once.
Sasuke would have one of his little emo moments in the corner.
Yeah, no kidding.
And, it's so
um,
funny rewatching the show. He was so over the top at times. Like I was like, oh my god.
oh yeah, for sure. Like watching it with my wife right now, like I'm seeing it all. I'm like, I thought this guy was cool when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean he's better in Shippuden later on, but oh my god, in the
Until
original
he
series,
sucks again.
well, he's got that
But for
character arc
different
going on.
reasons. Yeah. It's gotta
He is
go through that.
such he is such a little cringe lord though in the original series.
For real. But yeah, like what was your first thoughts on meeting Itachi and Kisame when you watched it the first time?
I just remember that being like, oh shit, another Uchiha, and oh my god, he's actually like threatening. Like what the fuck?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
that first encounter is pretty awesome though, because it like really shows like how intimidating the Sharingan actually kind of could be.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like when they first revealed the Tsukiyomi, like
Mm.
the whole concept of having like trapping somebody in the space time that in the real world is only like a second, but you're trapped in there for like days, just being tortured over and over. Like one glance into his eye and you're in a coma. Like you're done.
Especially if you learn the some of the when we get even farther into his backstory way later on, you learn some of the shit he did with that. It's like holy fuck.
For real. It's wild. Like the Sharingan is like such an overpowered ability. Like looking at like anime as a whole, like the Sharingan is up there.
It's funny, like the two major eyes in the Naruto universe, the Sharingan and the Byakugan, are like literally just two super OP moves, and they just casually have them in like family lines.
Yeah, but then like of course there's gonna be more eyes later because I don't know. Kishimoto has a super boner for eye powers, I guess.
They're just like light bulbs, just screw them in.
Yeah, no
Kind
kidding.
of how they work in that universe. It's kind of bizarre.
And I don't remember if this is how it was in the anime, but I remember when I was reading the manga, it didn't actually show the Mangekyo Sharingan until Naruto and Sasuke's like showdown at the statues.
Hmm.
And I don't remember if it actually shows it in the anime or not. Like
It's been a
when
while.
Itachi's fighting Kakashi.
If it does, it's been a while. I don't remember.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just one of those things that came to mind. I couldn't remember if that was the case or not.
That was speaking of
But
fights. That was a cool fight too.
yeah, especially when Guy shows up, and that was like the beginning of the trend with Guy and Kisame,
Yeah.
which is one of my favorite running jokes in the whole series.
Well, I mean, I love that joke too because it parallels so much too with the whole running joke of like the bromance between Kakashi and Guy.
Mhm. For real.
Those two have such a great dynamic, and they fight so well, with as a team.
Mhm. Well, I mean, it makes sense because you got Kakashi, who's like the super talented. Like, I know all these different moves, all these ninja magic moves, and then you got Guy, who's just I punch real hard and real fast,
Well, he's kind of
which
like what
they
one
pair
of
well together.
well, he's like one of the definitions of like the series where it's like it's not so much about the technical skill, it's about the determination, willpower,
Yeah.
which like Guy is probably one of the biggest examples of.
Hmm. And then so yeah, they Itachi has his whole fight with Kakashi and them. And then I think by this point Naruto and Jiraiya had already left to go find Tsunade.
I
And
believe
this
so.
is this is the arc where Naruto learns his other signature move. Like, I guess I don't know if this is why it was introduced, but I feel like this move was introduced specifically to be a foil for Chidori,
Hmm.
or to be like Naruto's version of it.
Yeah, and that's the
Because since they don't shoot beams, they have to have some sort of clashing attack.
and that's the Rasengan, right?
Rasengan, yeah.
Rasengan. Um, it does become it. I do like how it becomes like such a iconic move for Naruto as it goes through the series to the point where it in the future gets like passed on to his son in the sequel series. Although the reasoning behind it is different.
Yeah, and I love that like Boruto kind of takes his own spin on it too. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Um, and also like I know like we're kind of dipping our waters into way later stuff, but I think it's really funny that like later on it's said that um the Rasengan was always supposed to be able to be thrown, and Naruto just could never do it unless he was in like Sage mode or something.
Yeah, because he always kind of used it as just a punch,
Yeah,
which is kind of
I
cool.
was I always thought that was kind of funny. Like Boruto was able to do it like right away.
Well,
Naruto couldn't do it unless he had like nature energy.
that was always one of the interesting things about what makes because I know we're getting way into the future here, but like the Boruto anime and manga are very they take a while to get into because they start very rough. Um,
Hmm.
but like one of the interesting parallels between the two is the fact that like Naruto had literally nothing when he started and had to work to where he was, and like Boruto literally has everything, and he kind of has to understand why it's important to learn.
Yeah, like automatically can use like three different elements like right at the beginning.
But when he tries to do something really specific, he just can't.
Hmm.
Oh, like how like when he gets like shown like this one very specific move, and it's like, all right, do this thing, and it's like he just can't do it for whatever reason. It pisses him off because everyone always compares him to his dad.
Yep. Um, but yeah, getting back to Naruto. Um, so yeah, this is the point where Naruto and Jiraiya are off, and Jiraiya is starting the whole process of teaching him the Rasengan. And I love the whole like running joke about Naruto's got all these savings in his little frog purse, and Jiraiya just takes it and spends it on women,
Yes,
as you will.
Jiraiya is kind of a piece of shit at times. I'm not gonna lie.
Especially when he's first introduced. Like as time goes on, you learn more about him and you see like their relationship and stuff. Like he grows on you, but when he's first introduced, he's really an asshole.
Yeah, although when you learn more about him too, it's like it kind of annoys you even more because you're like, it's like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah, you should have been a lot more sympathetic to this kid,
Yeah.
especially
uh,
considering how similar they were once you learn like more about Jiraiya when he was a kid.
hmm.
Um, but yeah, so Itachi eventually shows up at like the hotel that they're staying at, and like Naruto knows the second he opens the door, like I am fucked. Like
Yeah.
if Jiraiya doesn't come back, I'm done. This is over. which Naruto doesn't have that kind of thought very often. Like, you know, he'll be intimidated from time to time, but he's never like completely like there is no hope. Like,
He's like, the power of friendship isn't going to work this time.
hmm.
At least
And
not
that's
yet.
when,
At least not
yeah.
yet.
And then Jiraiya and Sasuke both show up. Sasuke has his whole, you know, flailing at his brother thing, and instantly gets taken out, and then gets to watch his family die all over again because Mangekyo.
Yeah. Itachi was kind of a bastard here. I get why he did it, but Jesus.
For real. For real. Well, I mean, I feel like, yeah, like he had his reasons, but I feel like the meta reason is because like I think Kishimoto really wanted you to hate Itachi. Like, yeah, he
Well,
made
yeah.
him cool because he's a good fighter and he's really talented. He's got all these cool stuff, but like it went out of their way to try and make the audience really hate him
Well, yeah,
at the
because they wanted
beginning.
to make that reveal later on so much more of a gut punch.
Mhm. Um, so by the end of it, Sasuke is taken out, and he's like in a coma now too. Which makes finding Tsunade even more important because she's like the most talented medical ninja in the world, and she is like the only person who can wake them up, and also possibly heal Lee.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it's not a confirmed yes or no thing. Um, so from this point onward, like even up to the point where they meet Tsunade, it's pretty much just training arc,
Yeah.
which is always fun. I always enjoy a good training arc in these kinds of classic shonen shows. Um, but yeah, I don't know if you have any points to mention on that part.
Not really. I mean, I enjoyed the dynamic. Like, it's so interesting, like, how weirdly fast Dragon Ball was in comparison. Naruto is kind of a slow show, like, to start off.
Hmm. Well, I think it's kind of like I think that might have been part of it though, is they wanted it to be a little bit more of a slow burn.
I mean, Naruto is like, I mean, usually slow burn is used in like a romantic sense, but like it applies here. Well, ironically, it applies both ways for Naruto, but it really does apply in this sense as well because this show starts off and it really doesn't even hit its climax until at least like a quarter into Shippuden, where like
Yeah.
it really starts to all come together.
Hmm. That's when you start seeing the stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah, because it's like original Naruto, I feel like is a much better. It's more tightly written overall, but it's very slow paced.
Yeah, and it seems like at surface level like it's very straightforward. But then like, you know,
Mm.
once you get into Shippuden, you start figuring out all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes and um like when you really start learning about like more like Kakashi and like what he's thinking throughout all of this stuff that's happening, which you don't get until way later.
Yeah, I think that's another thing too with the early parts of the show is like to me, I always found Kakashi to be the most interesting character starting off, but you don't really learn anything about him until like way after when other interesting characters have been introduced, which I think was kind of effective because it made you want to keep watching, but at the same time, it kind of felt like a tease a bit.
Hmm. Well, it's kind of like, and they kind of like show that he kind of shows his hand with Kakashi right at the beginning too, like when he's first introduced and they're doing the whole like let's like all members of the team are all going to introduce each other to each other and you know tell us some things about each other. And he's
Hmm.
like, oh, I like lots of things. Uh, I'm not going to tell you anything that I don't like. Um, Also, I'm not going to tell you my dreams for the future. He's just literally like he's going through the whole like list of things that he wanted them to cover. He's just like, I'm just not going to tell you anything but my name. Like,
Yeah. Well, he's kind of a Kakashi's just a troll for most of the series.
mhm. I mean, the first thing we see him use is Thousand Years of Death. So,
Yeah. I just love his no shits given attitude. That's honestly like I think one of the reasons why he appeals to like an older person now.
mhm, for sure. I mean, he was always one of my favorite characters, even way back then. But no, I definitely the older I get, the more I get it.
Yeah. He becomes like the Squidward in a lot of ways, where it's like you just don't like him at well, you don't relate to him at first, and then you get older and you relate to him so much more, and he just becomes so much more relatable.
Yeah. So yeah, then we finally meet Tsunade, who has a gambling problem and kind of a low key drinking problem too.
I love how all of the three sen and just have so many. They all have their own issues.
Mhm. For real. Um, I mean,
Isn't like
it's
she
kind of hard to
also
top
like
Orochimaru's.
true? He takes it to an extreme. I mean, they all kind of have their extremes, but his is just on a different level. Um,
Mhm.
I do find so. Isn't it like confirmed that like Tsunade is doing like some jutsu to make herself look young still?
Yeah, it's just a transformation jutsu,
Yeah.
like a
Is it
basic ass, like you see in the first episode.
because isn't she like in like her like 60s, 70s or something?
All three of the signing are 50 at this point in the show,
50. Okay. Yeah, so they're
which
she's
they look
they're
a
just
lot
hiding it.
older. I mean, not Tsunade, and actually Tsunade and Orochimaru are both, but I mean, you look at Jiraiya and you think he's a little bit older than 50.
He's lived rough. He also doesn't hide his age.
That's true. Um,
Yeah, he's the only one that doesn't hide his age. Now that I think about it.
yeah, right. No kidding. I wonder what Orochimaru would look like if he aged.
Well, he's weird because he changes his body every like couple of months or whatever.
Yeah, however long, who knows?
Did they ever show Tsunade like what she actually looks like, or is that always just like a mystery?
Only her hand.
Oh, I've
Like
seen that. Yeah.
whenever she gets like super tired or whatever after using like the healing thing that she does, like it'll release the transformation and you'll just see her hand kind of like wither. It also looks far older than it actually should, but she also drinks a lot, so that makes
Oh
sense.
yeah. They're all kind of addicts. So
Yep. Um,
speaking of her character though, she's immediately interesting, I will say.
oh yeah, for sure. And then like you meet her and you're like, really? This is the next Ninja King? This alcoholic gambling addict? Like,
That's kind of a thing that this show really does is it like kind of plays with your expectations. Because every character they hype up as this big important character, they show up and you're like, that's it. It's like, okay.
mhm.
Like, because wasn't Jirai kind of hyped up too? And then like you see him and you're like, oh, okay.
Well, that's the thing is he's introduced before they really explain who he is and like show like why he should be hyped in the first place. And like
Gotcha.
later on, like that because they approached Jiraiya first to be the next Hokage, and he's like, no, I'm not doing that.
He's like, fuck that shit.
I got way too much peeping to do. I do not have time for that. It would be kind of frowned upon if the Ninja King was going around bathhouses peeping at girls.
Yeah, just a little.
um so yeah, Naruto they meet up and Naruto dislikes her immediately.
Yep.
Um which is pretty funny because he doesn't realize that they're there to find the next Hokage. He just thinks that they're going to find like a really good healer.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, so like obviously, as soon as he realizes what's going on, and especially when she turns down the job, he loses his shit. They have like a quote unquote brawl. Really, it's just her flicking him a few times.
Yeah.
Um, and
You forget how
then they
pathetic Naruto was early on.
oh yeah, he definitely changes a lot, especially after
He
the time skip.
I will say out of all the big like shonen anime protagonists, he probably has the biggest growth arc out of any of
Mhm,
them because he really does start at literally nothing, and it takes a while for him to become what he is at the end.
for sure. Yeah. Um, so that's when Naruto and Tsunade make their bet is that he's gonna master their Rasengan within a week or however long it was, 10 days. I don't know. I don't remember. And I forget what it was. It's like if he can't do it, then he has to admit that he can't be a Hokage or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was.
It was one of those
But if
things
he
where it's like
wins, hmm?
it was one of those things where it's like he's gonna do it, but they have to make it interesting.
Yeah, and they got to like build it up. It's going to be a big reveal. Um, but we'll learn more about Tsunade and why she's as jaded as she is. And it turns out that she lost her little brother when he was Naruto's age, and then later on, her boyfriend, fiance person, whoever he is. And there's like a weird like correlation between all of them because they all wanted to be Hokage, and that's why she's trying to shut down Naruto. It's like this whole big like deep thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and we didn't even mention because she meets up with Orochimaru before this,
Oh, right. That's right.
before they find her, and this was like the first moment where like you meet her and you're like, oh shit, because that was when she like punches the wall behind her and the wall like explodes. That was like the first time you really get a hint of like what her whole deal is.
Yeah. Because she basically
That was definitely a god.
isn't like what her one of her like big things is like she can like just store up all that power and then just like let it out, kind of.
Yeah, that's what the diamond on her forehead is.
Yeah,
It's just like she stores all of her chakra in that one spot, apparently.
one of the many things they would give to Sakura later to try and make Sakura interesting.
Yeah. Which I don't know. I read something on the internet recently that said that supposedly Sakura is the most powerful kunoichi at this point in Boruto, and I'm like, is she though? I mean, I
Yeah, but
get she's got some cool stuff, but like, is she though?
I'm pretty sure I've read that Hinata is technically stronger just because she's got that like a literal the power of a god half thanks to the
Mm.
last movie. But Hinata doesn't do
And
anything anymore, so it's like
and honestly, I don't think it's going to take much time for Sarada or Himawari to surpass her
yeah, at
because
this point.
because Sarada and Himawari both got big upgrades in after the time skip.
Good to know. Good to know, I guess. I keep forgetting the Boruto anime ended, and they're waiting to do the next one.
Yeah, supposedly, from what I heard, Boruto is going to be seasonal from now on.
Probably for the better.
Probably should have done that from the first with original Naruto.
Well, the final dubbed DVD Blu-ray set comes out pretty soon, so I'm looking forward to that. I can finally just finish that damn thing.
Oh, for Boruto,
Yeah,
I need to start getting the Shippuden sets now that they're coming
oh yeah,
out in
they're
like
doing.
30 episode sets.
Yeah, I wish I waited because I bought all the fucking DVD sets, all fucking 38 of them.
Jesus,
I
wild.
did it in the
So
dumbest way
many.
too. I started at 38 and went backwards.
That's fair.
It worked. It was just a really bizarre way to do it.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna have to get the big Shippuden box sets because you can't stream it anywhere. Like, not if you want to watch exclusively the dub, you can't stream it because you'll hit a cutoff point where it'll only be subbed,
Yeah.
no matter where you watch it. I don't
Yep.
know why Shippuden is so much different. Like OG Naruto, you can find the dub anywhere. Shippuden, they don't expect to see the Ninja War in English.
It's got to be some licensing issue because I know Naruto channel hopped, Shippuden channel hopped a few times.
Hmm.
Because I remember Disney bought the rights to it and then realized how fucking violent the show was, and we're like, we don't want this.
Yeah, but now they're doing the new Bleach stuff, so it's like,
I won't call
I mean,
Disney. I won't not say Disney is a bunch of hypocrites. um,
that's fair. I mean, they're also making the Deadpool movies, so I mean,
well, they bought the studio that's making the Deadpool movies. I should say.
same difference. The Disney logo pops up at the beginning of it, so either way,
Yeah,
you still got your brand on it.
Disney has their morals, but they also have want money. So one outweighs the other.
Yep, that's for
And
sure.
and let's be fair, anime wasn't making a lot of money at that point.
Yeah. Well, I think at this point, because they've owned Hulu for a bit, I think they see um the scorecard or whatever. Like they're seeing how many people are watching anime on it.
Well, they see how much money Crunchyroll and High Dive to a lesser extent makes, and they were like, "We want a piece of that. Why are we putting our shows on this? Pull all of our shows, please, and put them on our thing."
Hmm.
So, yeah,
So yeah, basically Orochimaru meets up with Tsunade, and it almost comes to blows. But then Orochimaru is like, "Hey, I'll bring your brother and your boyfriend back to life uh, if you heal my arms." Which I don't think we mentioned that in the last episode. The third Hokage sealed off his arms' souls,
I don't
I
think
guess.
we did. We even mention the third Hokage. Now that I think about it,
I don't think so. Which is
okay.
ironic because that fight is happening in the background throughout that whole attack on the Leaf Village.
You know what's weird? The third Hokage is just such a unlikable character for me that I just always forget about him.
I always thought he was a decent enough character, and he was like the only one of like the elders that actually had a conscience, but
He
it
did,
still
but
didn't
he's
stop
still
him from doing the bad thing.
yeah. It's like he does so like the whole time, like with like the early show, like all these characters. I'm always like, I always have that thought of like this could have been so easily avoided if you had
Oh
just
yeah.
done this one thing.
Well, there's another one of those that's coming up
Yeah,
that I was going to mention. Um,
like when the third Hokage dies, I really didn't feel bad. I just kind of was like, oh well.
no, when his son dies, though, I felt bad that
Well, yeah,
that happened.
his we'll get into that's a spoiler for later, but yeah, when his son is a much more likable character. Even his it's his grandson, right?
Konohamaru?
Yeah, Konohama's his grandson, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah, even he's a more likable character, but he's also designed to be annoying, so that's why I was kind of okay with it.
Who was Konohamaru's parents?
I don't think it's ever been explained.
Because
I'm
you're
sure
just like, oh, this is my uncle, and it's just like, well, we waited a long ass time to say that because he's been around forever. But all right,
I'm sure there's like a family tree like web that you can look at online that explains everything, but it probably
yeah,
isn't important.
fair enough. Um, but yeah, Orochimaru promises to bring them back to life if she heals his arms, and she's like really thinking about it. But
Yeah, there was big deal with the devil energy going on there.
well, yeah, because you needed two human sacrifices to make it work.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which it was heavily implied that she was going to use Jiraiya and Naruto, which
Yeah, that would have changed things a lot.
would have been pretty fucked up considering that like she was kids with Jiraiya. Like that's fucked up.
Isn't she also like? Don't we find out later she's like tangentially related to Naruto too?
Uh yes, because I think Naruto is
Because isn't her clan
descended
like
does he
her
she's the
clan is like
granddaughter of the first Hokage.
yeah, and like they're tangentially related. Yeah, because he was married to an Uzumaki. Yeah, it's a whole confusing thing.
But also Naruto is descended from an off branch of the first Hokage's clan. So he is technically related to her, but like distantly.
Yeah, it's one of those weird fucking things.
But then it's also, I guess it's revealed later on that like most of the Hokages have married Uzumakis.
Oh, interesting.
So at least until Tsunade and the ones that come later.
Yeah, because I don't think yeah, I think from Tsunade, like none of them get married until Naruto.
Yeah, that's true.
I think about it.
Um, so that's like a whole thing that she's struggling with, and um, oh, there's also this weird thing about her like cursed necklace or something. I never understood that.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
the
like,
thing
oh,
about
this necklace is so important. It's cursed, but it's also like super important for some reason.
OG Naruto that always annoyed me was like it is a very well written show, but it has so many random plot threads that just never get answered.
Well, the thing with the necklace kind of comes to a point later in Shippuden, but
But it's like in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't mean much.
no, it doesn't. Um, so the day comes eventually, and it's like the night before, like the day that she's supposed to like make up her mind or whatever,
Hmm.
and she roofies Jiraiya,
Yep. Yes, she does.
which is the point I was going to bring up. Every bad thing that happens from that point onward is Tsunade's fault.
Yeah.
Because if she hadn't drugged Jiraiya, then I'm pretty sure full power Tsunade and Sage Mode Jiraiya could have taken out Orochimaru with no arms.
Yeah.
And that would have solved a lot of the problems that happened going forward.
You remember earlier I made that comment about like there's so many things in this show that if they had just done this one thing, it would have avoided so many things in the long run.
And it's like, why did she roofie him in the first place if she was going to turn down Orochimaru? It's like, what was the point of that?
I like Kishimoto's writing, but you can break it apart real easily if you look like for these little tiny things.
It's true. But I don't know. I mean, overall, like, I like the way a lot of the story connects over time, but like little things like that early on just bug the hell out of me.
There's a lot of moments in Naruto that are like you just scratch your head and you go, "Why?" Like it's like why?
Yeah. It's just a really stupid decision on her part.
I I feel
Although,
like it was a lot of it was padding too because he needed to stretch something to make a deadline. That's always been my theory.
that's fair. I mean, that is kind of a thing with manga artists is they are on that like weekly deadline. They have to get like a full 15 to 25 page chapter done every week, which
Yeah.
involves, coming up with the story and the dialogue and actually drawing all the pictures and formatting it. Which Kishimoto, like, I don't know if you've actually read the Naruto manga.
Not a lot of it.
Kishimoto, the way he does his panels is kind of very basic. He does a lot of like 6 panel pages that are like very simple with the layout.
Mm.
Um, and he loves his triple takes. Loves them. He does it in the manga too. It's not just an anime thing.
Yeah.
Uh, which we get. I think one of the first big ones we get is when Naruto hits the hell is his name, Kabuto, with the Rasengan,
Mm.
because we get like full page spread triple take of that hit from different angles, which is interesting in that point at least. How he kind of like, yeah, he does the triple take, but he shows it from different angles, and that's pretty cool.
Mm.
Although I think that first Rasengan, how he hits him and it kind of creates that like big ball that like shoots him backwards into the rock. That's like the only time the Rasengan actually looks like that when he uses it.
Yeah.
They just kind of like made it like super, super epic that one time, and then it's just like, yeah, this has just been moved now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kind
Well,
of
they
like
got
how
it.
they. Oh god,
No, you good. Your point's probably more important.
I was gonna say it's like kind of like how they made hand signs a big deal at the beginning, and then eventually
Yeah.
they're just like, yeah, we don't need those anymore. You can just do it.
Yeah, that was a thing, like where they do their weird like mumbo jumbo and then it just goes in and then it kind of gets phased out as it goes on.
Yeah, like when Kakashi's fighting um Zabuza, and they're doing that like huge, long, complicated string of hand signs to the water dragon thing, and it's like,
Mm.
you guys were doing that for like 2 minutes straight. It's like you could have just gone up and stabbed him.
It always reminds me of that the god awful Last Airbender film where they're like the Earthbenders are like you have six of them doing their fucking interpretive dance in the corner and then this tiny little pebble flies by.
For real. And then they end up canceling each other out anyway. So it was like, all right, so you did all that for no reason.
Yeah. It's
um,
one of those things where it's like it looks cool, but then you're always questioning. Quite you question it after, and you're like, wait a minute.
oh yeah, this is the part where also so it had been like mentioned throughout when we're learning about Tsunade's backstory stuff that she has like this intense fear of blood, which I mean, you're a doctor. It's kind of weird, but all right.
You'd
Um,
be amazed though how many like medical like students like go through all of it and then they see blood for the first time and they can't handle it.
well, I believe that, but like she's like so far beyond medical
True.
school. Like she's like
True.
considered to be the top doctor in like the world. Like you'd think
True.
you'd be able to handle blood a little bit more, trauma or no trauma, um, but yeah, she overcomes that and defends Naruto, and that's when like the real big fight starts, which is honestly one of the best animated fights. Like how I mentioned in the last episode, where one of the episodes specifically where Naruto and Gaara are fighting is like really
Mm,
well animated and choreographed. There's another one in this one when the three Sannin are fighting, which is just insanely well done.
yeah. No, it's that's the one thing I will give Naruto every time is the fight choreography is very well done.
Yeah, like I was watching with Cindy earlier in the week, and it was the when Sasuke was fighting Orochimaru for the first time, and I was just watching the way the fight choreography was done, and it looked so pretty, especially for the time. Like it was just so well done.
I mean, this is way far down the line, but I still think the final fight between Naruto and Sasuke is like one of the coolest fights in the series.
I've only actually watched that fight once, and I've read it once.
Mm.
Oh wait, do you mean this series or the
No,
following
no,
series?
the final encounter they have.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, they have a lot of those kinds of skirmishes. They have two really big fights and then a bunch of little skirmishes throughout.
Yeah, because Sasuke's a petty little asshole.
Yeah, right. And I hate after like the whole like in Shippuden every time they kind of encounter each other and then like you get teased like oh they're gonna fight and he left he's gone like god
He
damn
can't
it.
he can't be bothered. He's going through his emo midlife crisis. And it's gonna take him
His eyes
500
hurt. He
episodes.
needs
Yeah,
his eyes hurt. He needs to go take a nap.
it's gonna take him 500 episodes to get over it. You know.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, they have that whole big fight, and then ultimately Orochimaru gets back to a corner and he has to dip. And Tsunade's like, "All right, I'll be Hokage. That's cool."
Is that the same fight where Naruto gets like punched in the head, like that famous image, or is that a different fight?
Yeah, because that was when Tsunade was kind of having her like she was getting the shakes over the blood, and uh, uh, Kabuto was gonna like go in to like punch her, and Naruto gets in the way. That's like the
Yeah,
iconic image.
yeah. That image floats around so often, like out of context, and you're always like, huh. And then you see the
And
fight, and you're
also
like,
one of
oh,
the yeah, and also it's one of the scenes where like the manga does it way like more intense than the anime because it's the whole thing where Kabuto's coming at him with the kunai, and like in the anime it just kind of slips through like the webbing of his fingers and he grabs him. Which I mean that alone, like the whole like concept of getting cut between like the webs of your fingers, like that kind of skews me out a little bit.
yeah,
But in the manga, it straight up goes through his hand and he grabs his fist like that, like way more intense, way more gory.
yeah. Well, you can get away with that on print, but you can't quite get away with an animation form.
Yeah, I don't know when like what time of day Naruto aired in Japan, but I know that has a big thing to do with it. Because that was why Dragon Ball Super was so much less bloody than Dragon Ball Z, is because Super aired, I believe, on Sunday morning or Saturday morning in Japan, where Z was like Wednesday or Thursday night when on its original run.
Yeah, it's a similar thing with Yashahime. Like that was aired around the same time like Pokemon would be aired, so it was like they had to tone down a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the whole like big Tsunade arc. Then she comes back and there's a whole like little mini arc of she pretty much heals Sasuke and Kakashi instantly. And like, yeah, they're still on bed rest, but they're like fine. And then there's like a whole little mini arc about whether or not she can actually heal Lee,
Mm.
which is really the last big thing Lee gets, which is really upsetting because I loved Lee as a character, especially at those early episodes.
Yeah, he kind of just becomes comic relief after that, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, and it's like when he has his fight with Gara, it's so intense, and you're like, oh man, this guy could really bring it. He's super strong. He's got the gates and all that.
It,
But then like he never gets any better with it. And then
it's
once you actually see Guy use the gates, it's like, all right, who gives a fuck about Lee? Guy's the man.
what depresses me about Team Guy is the fact that like they really evolve into being like completely irrelevant like as the series goes
Mhm.
on. Well, actually, which is
Yeah.
sad because like they're still somehow more relevant than Team 8 is.
Mhm.
Like Team 8
Yeah.
just Team 8 flat out just like once Shippuden starts, they basically just get merged into Team Seven, and their teacher just disappears because of pregnant, and she kind of hangs out with Team 10 more than her own team,
Well, by Shippuden, they're all tuning anyway,
except Naruto, but that's a running joke.
except Naruto and Neji for opposite reasons.
True.
Because Neji's a Jonin by then.
Oh yeah, yeah. Neji's such a weird character. He's so like
Yeah.
over and underused at the same time.
I don't know if I mentioned it in the last episode, but I saw a meme recently, and it was like that scene from the Boruto movie where Sasuke is like knocking at the door, like looking for Naruto, and like Hinata answers the door, and like it's one of those like things that everybody says like, "Oh, this is the first time they actually spoke to each other." And in the meme, it was like, "Oh, she's looking for Naruto," and she's like, "Oh, he's not here. He's still at the Hokage's office, whatever." And he goes, "Okay, bye, Neji," and she goes, "See you later, Itachi." I just
Yeah,
thought
that's
it was
great.
really funny because they never actually interact, so there's no
That
reason for them
it
to know each other at any personal level.
that is really ironic too. Like I remember reading that and it was like that's the first time Sasuke's ever interacted with Hanada, and I'm like, no, it can't be. And it's like, yeah, it is in terms of canon, anyways.
Yeah, I just thought that was really funny. Like I was dying laughing when I saw that.
My favorite is the people who are always like the people who like don't actually look too deep into it, and they're always like, well, explain this, and then they show the gif of Hinata punching Sasuke from Road to Ninja, and I'm like, that's not even the same universe.
Yeah, it's a different timeline, bro.
That's bitch Hinata and perv Sasuke, like
I still need
completely
to
different.
watch that movie. I've been wanting to watch that movie. I have it on DVD too. I just haven't gotten around to it.
It's one of the better movies for the non-canon ones,
I've only,
anyways.
I think I've only seen a handful of the movies. Um, I've seen like the OG Naruto ones, which only one of them I really liked, honestly.
The problem with the Naruto movies is they're all just so like because they're non-canon, they're all just so like meh. Like the reason why I always say like Road to Ninja is probably the best non-canon one is just because it has an actually interesting idea.
Hmm. Actually, you know what's funny is even though I haven't seen the Road to Ninja the Road to Ninja movie, I saw that one weird filler episode where the alternate timeline Sakura somehow ended up in regular timeline.
Yeah, because she's not present in the film. It's weird the whole thing.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. But yeah, that's one that I definitely need to get around to.
I always say like the only two Naruto movies that really are worth watching are like Road to Ninja and The Last.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Boruto is good too.
The Boruto movie's good. It's kind of irrelevant though with the TV retelling of it now.
Yeah, but really, like the only major difference between the two is that in the manga slash anime version, he gets the karma at the
True. Well,
end.
also they changed up the preliminary fights because they didn't have like Gaara's son in the movie at all, or at least he wasn't relevant in the movie.
Yeah, he was there. He just wasn't like important. Like they just kind of
Yeah,
just like padded it out for the anime.
yeah, because
I
they
don't.
made like Shikadai the big opponent in the movie, and then he gets like just like downgraded immensely in the anime version.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons why I like the movie more. And I think if I remember right, I think the manga went by the movie as opposed to the anime. It's been a while since
Yeah,
I read it though, so I can't quote me on that, but I'm pretty
yeah,
sure it followed the movie more.
true.
Um, so yeah, do we even want to talk about that little three to five episode filler arc, or should we just skip it?
What's the brief summary? Like, because I forget, I don't even remember it.
Uh, they go on a mission to help protect this kid who's running a race because for some reason it's important that he wins the race. I don't really remember.
Yeah, it's probably
And
not
he
important.
has like the Lee weights, and they fight those guys from the Rain Village for the tuning exam. And then at the end, there's a dude with lightning swords, and that's pretty much the whole deal. Actually,
Yeah,
it's like a combination of like tuning exam stuff mixed with the first episode of Naruto, because apparently the kid running the race did the same thing Naruto did in the first episode, stealing the scroll. But he actually got out of the village for it.
Yeah. I don't think it's that important to cover. We'll probably just skip over the filler because it's all pretty pointless.
Yeah, I figured we would do that in general, but because that one was so short, I figured we might as well at least call attention to it if we're not going to actually cover it.
Yeah.
Um, although I will say, it might not. I think it would be fun at some point in the future to just do an episode just about the Curry arc, because I thought that was fun as hell.
Maybe an
It was a
episode.
stupid arc. It was a stupid
Maybe
arc, but it was funny.
maybe after we get through like Shippuden and Baruto, we should do a retail like a bonus where we cover all the filler arcs like that are worth talking about.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, but I don't know if I would have made it to just binge watch all the filler arcs at once. I think I'd have to take them one at a time.
Or just look up the ones that are actually worth watching.
That's fair. Yeah. All right. So getting into the final, Sasuke wakes up after being healed, and he's even broodier than usual.
Yeah, he went from being the My Chemical Romance kid to like the I don't know what's an even more emo band.
Linkin Park.
Well, they're more metal, but
Yeah, but that's people have been putting Linkin Park and Sasuke together since the early 2000s.
So he went from Evanescence, Bring Me to Life to Crawling in My Skin. Okay, that works.
Pretty much. And that is actually a song they used a lot for him.
I'm sure there was many an AMV made for around those.
Oh yeah, I saw a lot of them back then. A lot of them. A lot of Linkin Park.
Yep.
So Sasuke is being super bitchy and wants to fight Naruto on the roof because, anime. And is real upset at the end when Naruto actually does pretty damn well. And like there was like that moment where after the fight, which was actually a really well done fight too. After the fight, when they both get thrown into the water tower with their special moves, Sasuke has that moment where he like looks at the two and he's like, haha, my Chidori fucked it up way more. And then he goes behind it and sees that Naruto has literally imploded the other one. And he gets all butthurt about it.
Yeah, he just Sasuke's like character here bothered the fuck out of me because I'm like he's not even like understandable anymore now. He's just like being so petty for no reason.
He's just like, oh, he's improving faster than me, so obviously that means I need to kill him.
Like it's like almost like when you're born with everything and gifted from the start, you don't train harder, so you get lazy. Meanwhile, someone who has nothing has to constantly work their way up, and that's why Naruto suddenly is better. And it's like,
yeah,
geez.
Plus, I mean, there's also the fact of I know they don't actually like explain how it works until Shippuden, but he's also got the shadow clone factor because he's gaining so much extra experience from using shadow clones.
Yeah, honestly, Naruto and the shadow clones is like a really interesting concept because he really like that really becomes kind of his gimmick as it goes on.
Oh, for sure. Like that's easily like the thing he's most well known for. It's actually funny. I saw a thing. It was like one of those red pill, blue pill things on Facebook a couple weeks ago, and it was like, would you rather have all of Naruto's abilities or all of Luffy's abilities? I'm like, yeah, I would take just shadow clones over all the other abilities brought up here because that would be so useful in day-to-day life.
Yeah, honestly, just send one to work, like good, and then
send one to work, send one off to go learn like an instrument, send one off to go learn a language, like. You do all sorts of stuff. It'd be so useful.
Yeah, honestly. So getting back to Sasuke and his bitchiness.
Yeah. So that's when he's approached by the Sound Ninja, which I think we saw briefly in the Chunin, like the attack on the Leaf Village, because I think they were the ones making the barrier that locked in the third Hokage and Orochimaru.
Yeah.
Um, and they approach Sasuke. Ultimately, Sasuke decides to leave and go to Orochimaru because he wants power. And from that point, once everybody realizes that Sasuke is gone, they need to form a team with the newly Chuninified Shikamaru as the head.
Hmm.
And they take along Naruto, Choji, Neji, and Kiba.
What a random team. Now that I think
I
about
know,
it.
right? For real. But it's like it's a really cool team too. Like having like a little mix of all the different groups that we've seen
Yeah,
up to this point.
honestly.
Yeah, because we got Naruto from Team 7, Shikamaru and Choji from Team 10, then Kiba and Neji are both from different teams. So yeah, they get at least one representative from each team.
Also, I just realized it's totally Team Sausage Fest there. They didn't bring a single girl.
Yeah, well, I mean, Sakura was no use.
True.
And at this point, Hinata wasn't really much either.
Yeah,
Um,
they
and
probably forgot.
1010 always got the shaft.
They forgot 1010 exists. 1010 is gonna forever be known for that image of her impaled on the pole,
Yep.
and
Uh,
Ino probably just didn't give a fuck at that point.
yeah, Ino's not much use. Her kid's way better than her anyway. He doesn't even use her power.
Yeah, that's actually kind of sad in hindsight.
Which is funny because that's supposed to be like the whole thing with the Inoshikacho. It's supposed to be those three specific powers. But he's like, nah, I'm a draw.
I'm a draw. He does kind of use it later because he's got to save his parents' marriage, but that's
No,
besides the point.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, you didn't get to that filler episode.
It's entirely possible that I skipped over it. I don't know.
Okay, there's a whole
Um,
episode about him learning how to use the freaking mind jutsu technique, but
well, I know there was an episode where he was like, I don't know, he got the yips about drawing, and for some reason it wasn't working. So he tried to use his mom's for a while, and it wasn't a good fit for him.
no, they do an episode later where he actually tries to learn it because they kind of need him to, and
Gotcha.
it ends up, of course, being an Inosai argument, and he has to stop it.
Oh, he got totally off topic. In the newest Boruto chapter, he got fucked up.
Usai.
Yeah. Oh no. Whatever the fuck his kid's name is.
Oh, Inojin.
Inojin. Yeah. Yeah. He got fucked up.
Lovely.
He got treed.
Oh, that's always lovely.
Yep. So yeah, they all go off and they're chasing down the sound guys. And apparently, like the way they explain it is Sasuke needs to like die, quote unquote, before he can like awaken the new like stage for the curse mark. Which apparently is more important than we were led to believe. Because all of these sound guys have the curse mark and can use it up to the second level.
The curse mark is just fucking weird. Like that entire
Mm-hmm.
power.
I feel like it was introduced just for it to be like another kind of like dark power that Sasuke can use like to counter Naruto's Nine Tails.
Yeah, pretty much.
Even though it doesn't hold a candle.
No,
Even close.
it's only really useful early on when Naruto doesn't have any real control over the Nine Tails yet.
Because by the end of the series, the first series at least, the most he's been able to bring out is like one tail.
One or doesn't he have like two by the end, like at most?
Not in the first series. We see him almost bring out three at the very beginning of Shippuden.
Right.
But it's not until the other bridge arc
Yeah.
when he actually like goes full tilt. So yeah, they all go off and so out of the I guess five fights, because there are five separate fights going on with rotating people involved. But there are five main fights before like the big one at the end. Which one of those did you like the most?
Honestly, I kind of forgot about most of them other than the final fight between Naruto and Sasuke.
Well, the first one we had was like the big tough stupid one, who fought Choji, and Choji had um his little arc with we'd taken the superpower pills, where he has
Right.
like the butterfly
Right.
wings and stuff,
Yep.
which like I don't know, it hit me on a level emotionally that like now more than it did back then.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know why, but just for some reason it hit me more in the feels now that I'm older than it did when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Um, and then we had not Neji versus the Spider Guy.
I remember that one. I remember that one being okay.
I liked that one a lot when I was a kid. We had Shikamaru versus the Flute Girl because he always fights girls.
He does. That is such a weird point.
It's
Huh.
because he's the sexist one, so he has to fight the girls.
Was he sexist? I don't really remember.
I'm pretty sure he was sexist at the beginning, and then he overcome. Obviously, he ends up with Tamari at the end, so he kind of
Right.
has to move past that. She's kind of a no nonsense chick.
See, when I think of Shikamaru, I only think of his like angsty like period from like Shippuden and like
Mm,
his current incarnation where he's just chilling, doesn't give a fuck.
with a goatee.
His stupid looking goatee, yeah.
um, and then we had Kiba versus the one guy that's actually two guys.
Yeah. Kiva's such a
Or just
forgettable character too, I'm not gonna lie.
that one's probably the one I like the least, honestly. 'Cause I think that I just dislike that villain the most, like the one guy that was actually two guys.
Well, it's also just like I hate to say it, but like I'm trying to think of like Kiba having a decent arc in Shippuden like as well, and I really don't remember any.
Well, I can't speak for the anime, but he's like completely not there at all in the Boruto manga. Like I don't think I've
He
seen him once in the manga.
he has a filler arc where he gets in an argument with his cat girlfriend. Like that happens.
I did hear about that.
That
I
happens for
never
like
actually watched
an
it though.
episode. There's also when Sarda and Naruto are trying to find Jiraiya's porn books, and they ask Kiba and Shino about it, and they go, you guys shouldn't be looking for that."
Yeah, you don't need to read that. Read Tales of a Gutsy Ninja instead.
Yeah, that was the lead up to the time travel arc. Actually, now that I think about it,
Oh, you know what? Yeah, because I started the time travel arc. I never finished it, but I think I do remember that. Um, and then the last one was Bone Guy, and he started out fighting Naruto, which was I think was just a padded out,
hmm.
and then Lee showed up and took over, so Naruto could chase Sasuke. Um, and the only ones that were actually able to win their fights alone were Choji and Neji, uh, even though they almost died in the process and would have died if Tsunade hadn't healed them.
Yeah,
Um, all the rest needed help from the Sand Ninja, who somehow made it and were able to help.
yeah. That this whole fight thing was interesting, but I felt like a lot of it was kind of they just pulled it out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, Choji's and Neji's, I feel like were solid because they were only like 2-3 episodes, and they pretty much exclusively focused on those fights.
Hmm.
With with Kiba, Shikamaru, and Lee's fights, they're having all three of those fights happen at the same time, just so they could do the big reveal with the Saiyan guys all showing up at the
Yeah,
same time to rescue them. But I think with them having all three of those fights at the same time, kind of took away from them all
hmm.
because you couldn't really like focus on it and give the characters the time they needed. And it also just felt like it went on forever because of that. Whereas like with Choji and Neji, it was like, all right, we had 2-3 episodes, get this fight done, have your whole emotional thing, move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. For me, I feel like the Neji fight and um, I liked Lee and Gara working together, especially after Lee had just like he's still healing from his surgery. Like so, it's just like recent. It just happened,
Hmm.
and Gara shows up and helps him out, and like that was a really cool thing that they kind of like put all that behind them to work together towards something.
Hmm.
And I like that like the Sand people are like their go-to allies now after that whole debacle.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think I mean it's always fun whenever you see Lee or Gara fight. So that one's definitely up there. But I also really like the concept of the Byakugan and how that power works. And how it was like apparently the perfect foil for the spider guy.
Yeah. It's a cool power. Like I at face value, you think it's just like X-ray vision, but then they realize how much more deep it is. Like with its like
Hmm.
it's basically like a all-seeing eye, essentially, in a lot of ways.
Pretty much until that actually becomes a thing later on.
Yeah, that's true.
Because there's a character who gets introduced in Boruto who's literally just omnipotent and can see anything past or present as long as it happened uh, during this person's lifetime,
Mm,
which is
true.
just outrageous. It's just such an outrageously OP power. Um,
Wouldn't be shown in without it.
yeah, right. Like we didn't need more magic eyes that were just OP. Um, so then we finally get to Naruto versus Sasuke, which is where we really get Sasuke's like full backstory with uh, with some stuff taken out. And you know what's funny is like the last time I watched this, I was watching it and like as I was going through the whole backstory, I was like, you know what? I'm picking up on a lot more now than I like if I was the age I am, like if I was like maybe in my mid-20s or so watching Naruto for the first time, I probably would have picked up a lot more that there was more going on than just Itachi killed the family. Like there was some shit going on underneath and they made it very clear. I think just my 12-year-old brain couldn't wrap a head around it
Well, it's
at the
like
time.
the thing with that reveal is like when because they you get the backstory of the destruction of the Uchiha clan so many times, but each time you get it, a little bit more gets revealed until you finally get
Mhm.
the full picture and you're like, oh,
That's why actually my friend Matt uh I got him to watch through Naruto, but like I made him watch like specific chunks, like the pretty much like the important bits, because I knew he wouldn't have the patience for like all the like the whole thing, especially all the flashbacks and all that other stuff. So I skipped over Sasuke's backstory during this fight because I knew we were going to get the whole thing plus more once Sasuke actually fought Itachi.
yeah,
So I just saved it for that point, which ended up actually working out really well.
yeah,
Um,
because they really do show you that damn thing so many times.
yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, this is like the big emotional, like you just don't understand me. And Naruto's like, but I want to. And that's like kind of
It's
that's kind of
really
like becomes their thing for a long time.
it is. They also kiss again. With oh, we didn't even talk about the first kiss. Like that
They kiss
happens so
again?
many times. Don't they kiss twice, or does it happen earlier? I
I
forget.
don't think so. I
I
don't think
thought
they
it
do.
happened on accident twice. I don't remember.
No, but I remember that one scene where Karama references it like way later. Like
Maybe
after
when
they're cool, he's just like, haha, your first kiss was Sasuke.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that. That they were joking it. Yeah. Such a
I
goofy
lost my
thing.
mind when that happened. It was so funny.
Isn't that a running joke that like everyone had their first kiss with Naruto or something?
I don't know. Maybe. I couldn't tell you. Um,
I remember that being a joke at one point in the series.
so yeah, we learned like Sasuke's whole backstory about how like there's definitely like shit going on when you're watching it and you're seeing like the way that the Uchiha clan is interacting with Itachi, like you can tell like there's some shit going on underneath, but because we're looking at it through the lens of Sasuke, who was like, I don't know, 6 at the time,
Yeah.
you don't really get that like that view like underneath underneath it all. So you're seeing it through the lens of a 6-year-old, which is just Itachi bad, he kill.
Yeah,
Um,
that is still a dark scene.
oh, for sure. Um, and this is when like Sasuke reveals like, oh, the Sharingan has like this upgraded version, and to unlock it, you have to kill your best friend, which actually I don't think is actually true.
Yeah, I think that's
I
just
think you just,
Sasuke being
I
an
think
edge
you,
lord.
I think you just have to experience heavy trauma that unlocks it. But well, no, it's because Itachi told him that you have to kill your best friend.
Oh, yeah, okay, that makes more sense.
So I don't know why he did that to like because obviously like Itachi had his own reason for doing things, but like why would he try to manipulate him into killing his best friend? I don't understand that.
Itachi was kind of a bastard at times.
Unless he was trying to like unless he was trying to encourage him not to follow in his footsteps in his own weird way. It's like,
I'm
don't
always
try to
con-
get this power because I know its downsides and I don't want you to have that. So I'm going to tell you this really awful thing that you don't actually have to do to unlock it.
I'm always convinced like Itachi was just constantly playing like 4D chess in the background.
Oh, for sure. He knew what was going on like the whole time. He was the one guy who like had the full view of everything, except for like the actual big bad, but even he didn't have the full view.
Well, there's a reason why they refer to Itachi as like a walking spoiler, like whenever he's around,
Hmm.
because like anything involving him is just a giant spoiler.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, this fight is probably the best animated fight throughout the series.
Yeah, I will
And
say I really hate Sasuke's curse mark form. It's such a weird looking design.
I thought it was really cool when I was a kid, but the purple lipstick is a little much.
I just like I'm just like why does he go straight? I just thought the body horror was kind of unnecessary, but I was like, yeah,
Oh yeah, with the hand wings coming out.
yeah. I was just like that totally makes sense. It isn't going to be a problem later.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It doesn't last long, apparently.
No, no,
I think you
I'm
only
just
see him go curse mark stage 2 like 2 more times after that, and that's it.
yeah.
And I
I
think I
mean,
think the very next time you see him do it, he loses one of his hand wings.
yeah, which is ironic because what Naruto ends up going through later on is even more body horror-ish. But
Oh yeah, big time.
the
Um,
fight is fun though. I do love the whole symbolic nature of like that final hit where Naruto puts the line through his headband.
yeah, Naruto loves doing that kind of like that kind of symbolism. There's so much symbolism in
Well,
Naruto.
because isn't that like a thing in like the mythos is that once you put a scratch through your headband, it signifies you as a defector or something?
Yeah, you're like a rogue ninja if you have that. That's why like all the Akatsuki have it and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was
Although I
pretty
will,
brutal. Like the one scene where Sasuke like pretty much breaks Naruto's neck. Like that was
yeah,
brutal as fuck.
it was a pretty brutal fight. You know what the
Yeah,
worst part is too? It is a great fight, but it ends on such an unsatisfying conclusion because there's like no like resolution. They just kind of they end exactly where they started, like with no like
yeah.
resolution, and it's like,
I mean,
damn.
Sasuke does technically win.
He does in a sense that like they failed at their goal, like basically.
True. I mean, by the end of it, Naruto's knocked out and Sasuke is still walking barely, but
Hmm.
ultimately he did win.
Yeah, it's an
Although,
interesting like. Oh, go on.
if Naruto had pulled out more than just a single tail, he definitely would have ruined Sasuke.
True, but of course we can't. We have a whole nother series to get through for that.
Yeah,
But
save that for later.
it was an interesting choice, like that because at the time as kids we had no idea that this shit was going to go on as long as it was.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
it felt like such a kind of like an unsatisfying ending, like kind of a downer end in a lot of ways.
Yeah, definitely. Even though in terms of anime, it wasn't even the end because it went on for another like 80, 90 episodes.
Yeah, and which is mostly filler, right?
I think the only thing in that chunk that isn't filler is when Tsunade takes Sakura as a pupil.
That and the whole Naruto going off with Jiraiya to train, right?
Yeah, but that happens at the very, very, very end.
Well, yeah.
Um, but yeah, aside from that, it's all just filler arc after filler arc, which really annoyed me as a kid because not only did I not know it was filler, but every time one of these filler arcs would start, they'd be like, "Oh, this might give us a lead to finding Sasuke." I'm like, "Finally!" Nope,
Isn't
nothing doing.
so I haven't watched any of that in like decades. I have only watched the stuff that matters.
Hmm.
Does Sasuke ever appear, or does he just like stop appearing in the show for a while?
I think there might have been one scene where you like kind of see his silhouette, but then like it's revealed like when they're going there that he was actually there like a month beforehand and wasn't actually there anymore.
Okay,
But I think that's the most you get. I think you do see Orochimaru and Kabuto at one point, but it's like one of the very first filler arcs that shows up. So it was like right after Sasuke left, and then nothing after that.
so this was basically all just them stretching the shit out for time while Kishimoto wrote the manga.
Yeah, because at that point, although I think at the point where we got it, Shippuden had started in Japan.
Hmm.
Because I mean, when I was getting into Naruto, um, like by the point I caught up with the dub like at the beginning of the Tsunade arc. Everything after that I watched subbed because I wanted to watch. I wanted to see what happened that badly, which
Gotcha.
kind of desensitized me to watching subs, especially since I watched a lot of that filler subbed. Which yikes!
See,
And
I
then later
felt
on, Shippuden.
I fell off right around the point, like right after the Sasuke Naruto fight, because I realized real quick this was all just kind of bullshit after this. Um,
I didn't have a concept of what filler was at that point in time.
I lost interest after that because I was like, oh, nothing's happening. I'm gonna watch something
Hmm.
else.
Happens a lot with Naruto.
Because I didn't get back into Naruto until Shippuden had already been on for a while, and I just happened to see it one day. I'm like, oh, he's a teenager now. When did that happen?
Significantly less annoying teenager.
I mean, he's still kind of annoying,
He's
but
still kind of annoying, but it's not nothing even close to like early OG Naruto
true.
levels.
I, it takes about halfway through Shippuden for me to really like for him to really get to that point where I'm like, he's I get him now. Like, because even early
When he
Shippuden,
swaps out believe it for you know.
yeah, you know. Um, I think after the pain fight is when I really my opinion on Naruto changed a lot.
Yeah, that's a fun one. That's the pain arc is one we could have a whole episode discussing honestly
Shippuden
because a
is gonna
lot
be
happens.
like we're basically wrapping it up here, but like we will say we are gonna get to Shippuden at some point, probably not right away because that's a lot. Um,
Yeah, and we'll probably there'll be a lot more parts to that one that's just two, most
yeah.
likely.
I mean, granted, we're gonna be cutting out a lot of filler because there's even more filler in fucking Shippuden than there is in
Yeah,
OG Naruto.
500 episodes total of Shippuden, and literally half of it is filler.
Yeah, like I think you only have to really watch like 200 and something of them to really get the story.
Hmm.
The worst is the flashbacks to legitimately the previous episode. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Or all the filler arcs that in Shippuden that take place during OG Naruto.
Yeah, there's
It's like
that.
if I wanted to see them as 12-year-olds, I'd watch OG Naruto. I want to see them as teenagers.
I mean, I like the filler arc with like the food competition where we find out that Hinata can like fucking put it away,
Yeah.
which they reference in they reference in Baruto, which is kind of funny.
Oh yeah, that she was the ramen eating
Yeah, yeah,
champion or whatever.
Baruto like who is like the master, and it's like, oh, it's your mom, and he's like, what?
It's Iron Gut Hinata or whatever the hell they called her.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's just her smiling
oh
with an
man,
empty bowl, and it's like, okay,
yeah, super funny.
it's
Um,
always the ones you least
but yeah,
suspect.
and I don't know if we want to bring it up, but I mean we don't want to I mean, we've been doing spoilers anyway, so I guess it's not really a huge deal. But um, with the whole thing with Toby and Shippuden,
Mm.
I knew exactly what his deal was right off the bat
He's not
because
he's not very subtle.
well, I mean, like the big reveal with him
True.
because the Kakashi backstory arc that we get, like I don't know, like 150 episodes into Shippuden, where you learn how he got his eye and everything. In the manga, that's right after the Naruto Sasuke arc. That's right before part 2.
Yeah.
So, and that Naruto was actually, fun fact, the first manga I actually tried to collect for, and I had a lot of it too. When I was in middle school, but I don't know, eventually I just never completed it, and eventually I ended up, I think, giving them all to my cousin. And then later on, I just bought the big box sets because that was just the most convenient way to do it.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know because it was in technically the part 1 section of the manga. I figured it was worth bringing up the whole Kakashi getting his eye thing.
Yeah. Honestly, like thinking about it, like if you bring up the context clues, it's really easy to figure out who Toby is.
So many people didn't know. Like it blew my mind how many people didn't, and I realize now is because a lot of them didn't read the manga. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's super easy to figure out once you get, especially once like he's having that whole talk with Sasuke after Sasuke kills Itachi. Um, and like you see like how he's got like the scar inside of his face and everything. It's like super easy to tell who he is.
Yeah. It's just one of those things.
But for some reason, like nobody could wrap their heads around it.
Yep. uh
But yeah,
to be fair, the attention span of people watching anime back then wasn't as strong as it is now. So
that's true. And Naruto wasn't exactly the easiest one to follow along with.
well, yeah, because you had to deal with Toonami or whoever was airing it at the time because it jumped around a lot.
Yeah, that's true. But they also did have the Naruto marathons a lot. But the fact that like there was so much more in Japan than we had over here. I don't know how long it took for us to actually get a dub, but
Well,
like
the Shippuden
the subs
dub
were
didn't.
way ahead.
Oh yeah, the Shippuden dub alone didn't finish until like 2018, I want to say.
Something like that. It might have been like 2015 or 2016. I'm not sure.
Well, the final box set DVD didn't come out until around there because I remember picking that up the day it came out.
Hmm. Um, but yeah, I actually to this day I still haven't seen the end of the Ninja War in English because of
It's
the whole
worth it.
thing we talked about before about how they don't, you
Yeah,
can't stream it. You have to buy it.
yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, but
I mean, it's kind of sad that the final two arcs of Shippuden are literally nothing but filler, but I love it because it's a period of the series that like the show that is not really documented at all.
it leads into the movie and into Boruto though. So I mean, it has its purpose.
Well, it takes
Unlike
place
the unlike the
technically
Curry of Life,
technically it takes place after the movie.
isn't it? Like a little bit before, and a little bit after. I'm not 100% sure about that.
I think it's all
I didn't actually
after.
watch it, but
I believe it's all after. It's
okay.
kind of weird because Sasuke's inclusion is what makes it confusing.
Hmm.
Because Sasuke
Yeah.
legit appears for like 1 second in the last
Yeah,
with that
just to blow up a
animation
meteor or something.
with an animation glitch that doesn't have his eye right at one point
Hmm.
because he's got two normalized. They show him once and he's got two normalized, and it's like he's not supposed to have those anymore.
Hmm. Yeah, whatever. The animation makes up for it.
Yeah,
'Cause the last had beautiful animation.
it did
Um,
so much symbolic stuff.
oh yeah,
Um,
but yeah,
yeah. Other
that's
than
so
that,
that's
though,
Naruto.
yeah. If our discussion didn't make any sense, that's fine. It's a confusing show as it is. Um,
It's really long. It's a lot to pack in, even 2 hour-and-a-half episodes, it's a lot. Like
Yeah.
there's so much that we didn't talk about because it's a long series.
Yeah. Honestly, to do a proper Naruto breakdown, it would it would be like almost 100 episode podcast in its own right.
Oh well, I've actually used to follow a Naruto podcast, and it's way beyond that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. You
They're
remember
on
we thought we
Boruto
could?
now, but
You remember we thought we could cover it in one episode, like the
well,
whole thing.
we probably could have, but I think at that point that was our second recording of the night, so we were also exhausted by that point.
Well, no, I mean, remember way back when we started, we wanted to do all of Naruto, like the entire
Oh right.
franchise in one
Oh yeah,
episode.
that probably would have like doubled the time that we did for that first Dragon Ball episode we did.
Yeah, well, also Dragon Ball is just an easier show to explain. Naruto, there's
Yeah,
so
it's
much
a lot
fucking
more
stuff
simple.
going on.
For sure.
But yeah, other than that though, not much else to say. I still recommend watching original Naruto, at least the non-filler.
Yes, if you're somebody who can and or prefers reading manga, I definitely think that the manga is one of the best ways to absorb the story. Um, that being said, though, I mean, some of like we were mentioned throughout the episodes, like some of the animation and like you'd still want to like at least check out some of the fights on YouTube or something if you're going to read the manga. But and some of the music is really good too, especially in Shippuden.
The fucking Naruto intro themes go way harder than they have any reason to.
Oh yeah, like that one that everybody knows, the
Bluebird,
Fighting
yeah.
Dreamers.
There's
Oh,
that
the
one.
Fighting
There's
Dreamers.
Fighting Dreamers is up there. Bluebird is very well remembered. I mean, they're all pretty good.
The only other thing I could say that isn't a bad way to experience the series is the Ninja Storm games.
That's a good way. It's kind of like an abridged version.
Yeah, and while it doesn't take like because it'll do like the weird like mid-fight cut scenes that are also interactive.
Yeah.
Those it doesn't show like the exact fight. Like it'll do like an alternate version of the fight, but it's still really well done.
Yeah.
And you get all the main points of the story through it. So
and you can get all three of those in a single pack on the Switch nowadays.
Usually on sale for pretty cheap too.
And 4 is also usually on sale at the same time. So
yeah. Which I think I started the third one and I never beat it.
It's a series I want to sit down and play at some point. I just, like most things, I don't have any time.
I was considering just making my wife play those games instead of watching the show, but no, I think she would enjoy the story of the show enough where I think we'd be able to make it work, even though we'd have to dodge around filler a lot.
Yeah.
Especially once we hit Shippuden.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
But
yeah, so once again, guys, thanks for joining us on Geek Addicts. You can find Geek Addicts on all the major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can also find the show on YouTube with video versions, and you can find us at Linktree / The Barber Who Games, or you could join the GNC Podcast Network Discord server to find all things GNC, Geek Addicts, 3DO, Talk Gaming, Anime, or just general nonsense. And with that, everybody, we'll see you all later.
Have a good one.